Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
Here we are, two of us today.
Yes.
A bit of 10 scariest real-life moments from the 1990s.
From 1990s?
Yeah,
Ooh.
now, 1990, when you, think about it, there was a lot of shit that went down in the 90s.
Yeah, is this involving sort of like conflicts and wars, I guess, in things like
Could be
that?
anything.
Accidents, I don't know.
When was the LA riots? I seem to think that was the 90s.
No, you
yeah. Because I was just out of school.
Was it that long ago now, was it?
Yeah, I reckon it was early 90s.
Wow.
It might even been late 80s. But I'm thinking it was early 90s. Like,
Right.
I want to say about 92, 93.
Yeah.
Around that sort of time.
I guess they had first Gulf War in the 90s.
Correct.
Yeah.
A lot of shit.
Yeah, a lot.
But
let's
see what this is. 10 scariest real-life moments of the 1990s.
Okay. Now, we have several live reports to bring you. First, John Rollins is in East Moriches, which is the on-ground headquarters for the search mission. That's only 10 miles from the crash. John, what's the latest there?
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today, we're looking at moments from 1990 to 1999 that made the world stand still.
Made a brief appearance outside his apartment last evening. On Wednesday, dozens of FBI and ATF agents were in Jewel's residence and carried off box after box of materials.
Los Angeles riots.
Oh, there we go.
There, you're right. First one. There you go.
Someone hadn't picked up his home video camera. We've all seen the pictures of Los Angeles police officers beating a man they had just pulled over. The city's
Rodney
police
King,
chief said today he will support criminal charges against some of the men. Here's ABC's Gary Shepard.
In the wee hours of the morning on March 3rd, 1991, motorist Rodney King was pulled over by police officers in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles for speeding. The responding officers, under the false impression that King was armed, beat him ferociously. Unbeknownst to them at the time, bystander George Holliday filmed the beating on his personal camcorder, and the resulting footage was widely publicized.
I feel that it's a great travesty of justice. I feel that the jury in Simi Valley gave the okay to continue to abuse and oppress and suppress black people in this country. I feel that there is an undercurrent of racism and that the system is rotten to the core.
Despite the overwhelming evidence against them, the 4 officers were acquitted of assault and 3 of excessive force. This, combined with growing unrest amongst black Americans, resulted in the calamitous LA riots, saw 63 deaths, over 2,000 injured, and a reported $1 billion in damages.
That's not right! It's not right what y'all doing! I came from the ghetto, too!
And a man who had overcome all the afflictions of a blighted inner city, who had built a store that was the work of his life, saw it all come down and asked why.
Hurricane Andrew.
And here are the effects of Andrew as he begins to arrive here on...
That Rodney King situation that went down, that was kind of like a massive, major turning point.
Oh, huge.
In current affairs, if you want.
Yeah.
And nowadays, he says there, he picked up his camcorder and video on his personal camcorder. If that had never been done, it never would, who knows what what would have happened in history, sort of thing.
Exactly, yeah.
But nowadays, with phones and stuff like that, everything's filmed now.
That's it, yeah. Everything's pretty much documented, isn't it? Because people can film all the time. Anywhere.
One of the biggest concerns for me, though, now when I see things like this, is you see something happening. I've seen an incident, I think it was in Spain last week, where I was watching something on the news, and some guy's like roughing a girl up trying to rob a bag. Yeah. Everyone's filming it, no one's helping her. And I'm thinking, put your phone away and just go and crack the guy.
People are thinking about, uploading things to YouTube, uploading things to Instagram and social media. Probably more than anything, actually. But
it seems to be more important to get your phone out now rather than help.
Yeah, I get what you mean. But, you do think sometimes you look at footage and you think, oh, you're just standing there filming it. But
it's a lot of situations now as well where I'm one of them where I'm willing to help. If I see a police officer wrestling with someone on the floor, I'm going to try and help the police officer.
Yeah.
There's a case going on in the UK at the moment where if it doesn't go the right way, which way it should do, then if I see a police officer ever again getting beat up or any harm, I'm just ignoring it.
Yeah.
So if that case doesn't go the right way as it should do for law, then I'm out.
Right.
I'm just calling it a day. I'm not going to get involved in anything.
Yeah.
I'm one of them that's just going to walk by and just go, not my problem.
Yeah. Well,
hard to be for me.
Yeah, I have to see
like
what happens
with that one.
But
I will never help again.
Yeah.
That's it. Comes to an end. But let's see.
On Miami Beach, you can see the palms blowing, and then over here, you can see the sand. It's almost like a blizzard, a snowstorm of sand. And here you can see the wind is really picking up. In fact, the car is rocking back and forth, and I'm sure that's evident in the picture.
It's almost easier.
In my world, I don't know about yours, this was the first taste of bad weather in the USA that I'd witnessed as like growing up.
Yeah.
If you want.
Right, okay,
So,
yeah.
I don't know, I would have been about 19, 20 when
Yeah.
this happened. And it's the first sort of like real thing I thought, wow, look at the weather in the USA.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Again, there's probably more, getting into the 90s, there's more and more footage all the time of different...
The news was
different. It was different, I think they were getting into more into sort of like extreme weather and stuff and making a real big thing of it.
On the scene news, sort of like on
the
global,
spot. Yeah, big
sort of
time.
Like went a bit more global, didn't it, in the early 90s?
Yeah.
Sort of like late 80s is when you started getting more sort of like international channels.
Well, it probably happened, obviously, before in the States, but I think you're right. I think it started piquing interest a lot more around the world, in Europe and just everywhere else, didn't it? Big time.
To describe Hurricane Andrew in terms of the statistics it wrought, causing havoc in the Bahamas and the American state of Louisiana, Hurricane Andrew was felt most strongly in Florida, taking place over the course of 2 terrifying weeks in August 1992. The tropical cyclone stood as the costliest, most devastating hurricane to hit Florida until Hurricane Irma in 2017.
The leading edge of the storm that devastated South Florida, still at it this morning, now in the heart of Louisiana's Cajun country.
I wonder if it's the first named one.
2,000 people huddled in one of many shelters in Lafayette. When the wind picked up, they were awakened at 3 a.m.
In fact, it was the costliest in any part of the contiguous United States until the infamous Katrina of 2005. Costing oil companies a reported $500 million due to damage sustained to oil platforms in the Gulf of Mexico. Andrew was directly responsible for 65 deaths and nearly $30 billion in destruction.
And Dave, for anyone living here on August 24th of 92, it's impossible to forget these images. I mean, take a look at the devastation that
says there, Hurricane Andrew. So they're normally doing alphabetical order, don't they, the hurricanes?
That's why I was thinking, I was wondering whether it was maybe one of the first, it probably wasn't, but maybe one of the first name ones, and that's why it was so big in the news as well, and so remembered.
No, I think it's big in the news because it was Category 5.
Right, okay.
I think the naming came, I'm not 100%
way
sure,
before.
but I would guess it come way before that.
Right, okay.
It would be my guess.
Yeah, you're probably right. I was just thinking it might have tied in with being big news and people remember it because it was called Andrew.
Well, the one there is, they normally start with A, don't they? So
that's
like
right,
go through the names. So Andrew was August 24th. So we're approaching that date now.
Yeah.
We're only a week or so away from August 24th. And I'm wondering whether that's when the hurricane season starts.
Ah, yeah,
so
maybe.
towards the end of the summer.
Yeah.
Obviously, temperatures start dropping a little bit.
That's
so
right.
I don't know what causes hurricanes and all sort of thing, but it's. I'm wondering if that's when the season starts in August, late August.
Yeah, maybe. Could be.
Hurricane Andrew left behind. The Category 5 storm was the most destructive hurricane to ever hit Florida in terms of structures damaged or destroyed.
World Trade Center bombing, nearly a decade before the now unforgettable events of September 11, 2001 in New York City. Extremist militant organization Al-Qaeda launched a terrorist attack on the World Trade Center on Friday, February 26, 1993. Ramzi Youssef and Iyad Ismail set off a bomb in its parking garage, killing 6 people, including a pregnant Port Authority employee. Hundreds more found themselves trapped in the dark, smoky towers.
These are the first pictures from inside the garage. And we're also told now that there are 4 people confirmed dead.
We've called this the terror at the tower. And it's made even more so by the fact that it was an explosive device. And from now on, people in New York are going to feel even more vulnerable than they've ever felt before. Wow. And that's really terrible.
Look at that card, Jim.
The goal of the attack, as stated by Youssef, was to strong-arm the United States into dissolving its relationship with Israel, as well as staying out of the Middle East's business. Although it's been largely overshadowed by 9/11, the 1993 bombing was a senseless tragedy that saw over 1,000 injured.
If there's somebody trapped out there, what must they be going through right now?
Panic, a feeling of total isolation, the forgottenness. The world has just forgotten them and they're all on their own.
All afternoon.
A strange question to ask that.
Well, yeah, really.
Waco siege.
The Waco siege.
David Koresh.
Wow,
Only a handful of the 95 followers of David Koresh's cult are believed to have survived. But how much blame attaches to the FBI, who assaulted the compound before the fire began?
Founded in 1955 by Benjamin Roden, the General Association of Branch Davidian Seventh-day Adventists are widely regarded as a doomsday cult. Roden died in 1978, and his wife Lois assumed his place as Davidian prophet. That was until 1981, when Vernon Howell, who changed his name to David Koresh, arrived, amassing growing influence in the organization until 1987, when he spun off his own sect of Davidians.
The raid failed to flush out the cult members, who then, according to American officials, set light to the buildings. It seems only 8 of the 95 inside, who included 26 British people and 17 children, survived the inferno.
Koresh's branch Davidians assimilated the original group by force, and in 1993, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms attempted to raid the Mount Carmel Center Ranch. The ensuing 51-day standoff and firefight resulted in the deaths of 4 ATF agents, as well as 82 branch Davidians, including 28 children.
It's my impression.
I wonder how long that'd last now.
Wow. I don't know. I think we would have learnt a lot of lessons from that.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think maybe a bit more speed next time because of the way it developed and what happened. I'm guessing they'd probably get in there a little bit quicker next time. But I think it's I think
it's more advancement in, like, stun grenades and smoke bombs and stuff like that.
Technology and even sort of like seeing where people are and not X-ray machines, but being able to
vision,
pick up where people are in the buildings, heat detectors and things like that. I think they'd want to get in there a hell of a lot quicker, especially where. But it's so difficult when there's that many kids in there involved as well. You know what I mean? That is a long time, isn't it?
That,
tragic.
From what I understand, that it was to the government's advantage that the compound either be demolished or destroyed or burned, because the physical evidence that might have some opportunity of disputing their contentions is now destroyed.
Rwandan genocide.
May 7th. The massacres that have claimed up to 200,000 lives in Rwanda did not begin as a spontaneous outpouring of tribal rage, but rather as a systematic campaign of killing directed by political leaders and backed by the military.
Over the course of just 3 months, from April to July of 1994, a coalition of extremist Hutu militia groups in the East African nation of Rwanda killed as many as an estimated 800,000 Tutsis. This was in addition to 10,000 members of the Twa peoples and up to 500,000 Tutsi women who were sexually assaulted by Hutu militants.
June 10th, the commander of the small United Nations detachment in Rwanda conceded
Have you watched Hotel Rwanda?
His efforts to broker a ceasefire in the civil war there have shown no signs of success. He predicted more fighting and more massacres. This was the Canadian General Romeo Dallaire who was deeply affected by his inability to stop this crisis going on.
The most infamous moment of the larger Rwandan Civil War, which began in 1990 before ending in July 1994. The deadly chaos was spurred on by the assassination of Rwandan President Juvenal Habyarimana. The genocide didn't end, per se. While the mass killings ceased, the conflict instead morphed into the First Congo War in 1996.
There was, I think, just a collective willingness back in the United States and in all the world capitals to put your heads in the sand. I mean, this was only 6 months after we had lost a huge number of Army Rangers during the Black Hawk Down incident in Somalia, and I think there was no appetite in Washington at that time to engage ourselves in another African tribal war.
Oklahoma City bombing on April.
Yeah, watch Hotel Rwanda, mate. Don Cheadle. I mean, Don Cheadle's one of my favourite actors, anyways. He's a top actor.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But just watch that movie.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, it depicts that. It's really.
That's what it's all about, is it?
Good. It's good, very good. Ooh. This guy, Timothy McVeigh, was an absolute barn pot.
April 19th, 1995. Disgruntled Gulf War veteran Timothy McVeigh carried out the deadliest domestic terror attack ever committed on American soil, killing 169 people and injuring 684 more. Intended as revenge against the United States government for the raids at Ruby Ridge and Waco, McVeigh and co-conspirator Terry Nichols detonated a Ryder rental van on the north side of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building. The seismic blast has been compared to over 5,000 pounds of TNT and caused irreparable damage to over 300 nearby structures and buildings. Tried and convicted in 1997, McVeigh was executed in June of 2001, and Nichols was sentenced to life in prison just 3 years later.
The deaths of the 168 people who died in the April 1995 Oklahoma City bombing were violent, unexpected, and mourned by millions. Today, the man who killed those people died on schedule by lethal injection, and no member of his family was in attendance.
TWWA Flight 800 explosion.
Federal safety officials and the FBI and New York City law officials have been all over the scene in the Atlantic Ocean, some 10 miles south of East Mauritius on Long Island. There have been reports from a New York congressman that one of the plane's flight recorders had been found, but investigators so far are denying that report.
Only 12 minutes after takeoff from John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York City, Flight 800 exploded and killed all 230 people on board.
From Paris.
Parallel criminal investigations undertaken by the FBI and JTTF took nearly a year and a half to determine that there had been no criminal element, and the resulting NTSB investigation took just over 4 years.
Roz, while many suggest not to jump to conclusions this early in the investigation, suspicion, even initial reaction, has questioned the possibility of a bomb, possibly terrorism.
The immediate reaction is a bomb. I think that's the normal reaction.
And with Bill Callahan's expertise in international security and investigation, with a background in narco-terrorism, he now wonders.
The costliest and most intensive assessment in aviation history up to that point, the NTSB determined that, in all likelihood, the tragedy was caused by, quote, a short circuit outside the center wing fuel tank that allowed excessive voltage to enter it through electrical wiring associated with the fuel quantity indication system, end quote.
The NTSB hearings essentially concluded that the center wing tank exploded, but they did not define the cause of the initiation, but the initiating event which caused the center wing tank to explode.
Centennial Olympic Park bombing. While fulfilling his job duties during the 1996 Summer Olympics, 33-year-old security guard Richard Jewell discovered a suspicious package under a bench at Centennial Olympic Park in Atlanta, Georgia. While Jewell and his fellow security guards initiated an evacuation, the package, actually an explosive, was detonated, killing 2 people and injuring over 100 more.
Yesterday, lawmen made a second trip to Richard Jewell's former home in Habersham County. Agents bagged potential evidence. They also removed paint samples and took photographs. Other investigators went to a Toco Hills hardware store asking about pipe that might have been used to make the bomb.
Jewell was soon named as a major suspect, and as such was hounded by the media and authorities, resulting in his trial in the court of public opinion. Eventually, further Atlanta bombings gave way to the FBI's identification of Eric Rudolph as the true perpetrator. In 2005, Rudolph was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Survivors of his clinic bombing finally got the opportunity to lash out at Rudolph.
Been waiting 7.5 years for it, and the main purpose was to see him and let him know he failed.
Staring him dead in the eye, Emily Lyons blasted Eric Rudolph, calling him a failure and a coward.
Murder of Gianni Versace.
The stars
I forgot about this.
Are in shock over the execution-style murder of designer Gianni Versace, shot to death at point-blank range on the steps of his Miami Beach villa.
Founder of the legendary luxury fashion brand that bore his name, Gianni Versace was a highly prominent fixture of 20th century high culture. The Italian designer and businessman was not only highly prolific, but deeply versatile. For example, he designed the costumes worn by musicians Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney in the 1983 Say 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 music video. Versace's life came to a disturbing end in 1997 upon being murdered by spree killer Andrew Cunanan. Cunanan, who by this point had already murdered 4 other men, took his own life just 8 days later. Cunanan's exact motives for carrying out the murders remain chillingly unclear.
So did Cunanan feel victimized by those around him or abandoned when his relationship ended to a wealthy gay man?
In a spree killer, it starts with an incident later in life. And that incident is what leads to that type of reckless and power-hungry or destructive behavior.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell.
I was in the USA when that happened.
Oh, really?
Videos.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into settings and switch on your notifications. Columbine High School Massacre. We still don't have the exact answers as to why Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold opened fire on their high school in Columbine, Colorado on April 20th, 1999. What we do know, though, was that until 2012, their rampage was the deadliest of its kind at an American K-12 school, employing a combination of powerful firearms and improvised explosives. 16 people were killed, including Klebold and Harris, who made the choice to end their own lives at the scene after the massacre had ended. Efforts to determine the why of it all, beyond inflicting mass pain and suffering, have been poured over for decades, with no one any closer to understanding the duo's actions than the day they took place. Which 90s moment in our video shocked you the most?
Yeah, someone's there kind of like forgot about the TWWA flight.
Same here, yeah.
TWWA flight, I kind of remembered because I was in aviation for a long time, so it was like you kind of remember. I've got a feeling it was on its way to Paris. Someone will have to.
Well, I think the guy in the news clip got it wrong. I think it's Mauritius, wasn't it? Not what he's called it something else. So I think it might have been flying from Mauritius, and that's like a French colony, isn't it?
Oh, I thought it was took off. No, it took off from JFK.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it took off from JFK and then crashed off the coast of Long Island.
Right,
so I think he was referring to some of the names around Long Island. Where
it must have been right. I thought it meant. Yeah, it sounded a bit like Mauritius. But right.
But I think that's what he was getting. I might have missed what he said Mauritius, but that's what he sounded like to me. But I've got a feeling it might have been going Paris, but I might be getting mixed up with there was an Air France one, wasn't there? Out of Brazil that crashed not so long ago. Actually, when I say not so long ago, it was a few years back.
Yeah.
But I think that one that might have been going. Well,
that was that the one that came down there, Australia?
No, it was taken off from Brazil, I think it was. And it did like a crazy thing. I think it went just massively high altitude and sort of lost and then just crashed.
Just disappeared.
Dipped into the, I think it went into the Atlantic or something like that.
Yeah, but that one you think the reason that they were coming up with.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like that was ever clear. Obviously, details there of, obviously when they try to figure out, back in the 90s, it was things, technology. You look at anything back then, it's very different now. You look at DNA and everything, like, it wasn't as advanced as it was today. But I don't know, there's some bad ones there, though, isn't there, when you think about it? Columbine,
absolutely.
The Oklahoma City bombing,
Waco,
the riots,
all the kids that were involved in that one. I mean, it's absolutely, like I say, incredible that it went on for nearly 2 months.
90s was a pretty shit decade, really, wasn't it?
It was for things like that, wasn't it? Yeah, big time.
So it's always interesting to watch that because a lot of it changes the way we live today.
Yeah. Oh, but I mean, you like I say, you like to think that people, authorities, learn from certain things. Certainly from the Rodney King and Waco. I'm sure those type of incidents. You like to think that a lot of lessons have been learned anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the bomb at the Trade Center as well. I think it was like packed up in like a rental truck, wasn't it? Like a Penske or a Ryder.
Yeah, I do remember that now. Yeah. But like I say, probably overshadowed a bit by 9/11. I'm guessing
nowadays. It's shocking. What people think, what people do and think, and the way they go about it.
I know you just think what's going through your mind at the time. It's absolutely, it's just so sad, isn't it? Some of it really is.
Yeah, but the 90s was pretty bad, really. Like
it was.
You mentioned things like the Gulf War.
Yeah, of course.
Just incidents, I think, like forms of like things that just shock you.
Yeah.
The Gulf War might be one of them things that you kind of expected.
But I suppose you look at decades after it, and some of those things are repeated to a certain extent. Certainly, killings at schools and plane crashes, terrorist attacks,
police
things
violence.
like that. Yeah, it's like we like to think lessons learned, but these things seem to keep happening, don't they?
Yeah, raise the ugly leg again, don't they?
Yeah, just a bit.
Interesting. Good watch.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.
Cheers.